Hello guys, this is Antia Host the Third here, hosting a live commentary on a 3v3 Brotherhood battle here. We have Kleomenis the Third here taking Sparta, and what's special about this battle is that this player, Kleomenis the Third, has the world record number of kills for Carthage in 15 years of this game being alive, and in however many years 31K has played. Nobody on any kind of reliable records has ever gotten this many kills with Carthage, and it was only a 3v3, not even a 4v4. So I thought this battle was worthy of a commentary being put online. Cleo is teamed up with Spartan Commander, and Legion 22 has also brought Carthage. Legion 22 has these general calves. Unlike the Sacred Band cav, they are a little bit useless considering the fact that each one of them costs 2,000 denarii, just about. It's more like 1,800, so he spent quite a bit of money on these for very little actual melee or charge effect. They are kind of useful as they're like kind of a cross between heavy cav and light cav, but again, for the price, it's debatable if they're really worth it. You might see one with Greece and it's justified, or with some shitty faction like Dacia in 31k, but otherwise, I wouldn't go for it. Much better to use Sacred Band cav, or if you want light cav, their Numidian mercenary cav is also very good for what you need light cav to do. But anyway, this is the battle. Right off the bat, you have Uthers, who's brought Greece. He has 14-6. I think he actually has 15 Spartans and 5 archers, but no matter. And Sandy Stars brought the Brudii with a 14-6 build. Actually, he has 1 archer. It's 13, 1 archer, and 6 cav. And then you have Mars over here with Macedon, who's brought the same build as Cleo. Cleo has 3 cav, 3 slingers. Mars has 3 Cretans, 3 companions, and 14 royal pikemen. So a mirror to Cleo's army. As you can see here, Spartan Commander and Legion are pressing very heavily against Sandy Star and Uther, who themselves rushed this side of the battle. Mars is a little bit out there. He's already warmed up and winded with many of his units. Cleo is also warmed up, but he's also more fresh. So he sees a chance to kind of let these guys do their even 2v2 and then go after Mars, which he can kill. Obviously, you all know, experienced players, that Carthage, if everything is equal unit-wise, has a clear edge on Macedon. Its slingers will do pretty close to neutralize the archers. Its cav is better at melee than these companions, although I believe companions have a slightly better charge attack. And its Sacred Band will munch away at these royals if used carefully, which Cleo will do, as he is a Greek. And he and his clanmates are some of the best players ever to have used pikes in 31k, so it really shouldn't be that much of an issue for him. Mars does not want to take the engagement. He is going to run as fast as he can. Cleo over here with his Sacred Band cav harassing these archers, which Mars is going to bunch up and put inside of his pikes, so that cannot happen. Legion with his general cav. They were all the way over here for some reason. Legion himself is now on the other side of the map from where he began. His generals are all tired, but they're obviously looking to go for these archers, which are all shooting point-blank range flame arrows at the Sacred Band, which, all things considered, is a pretty useless move that does absolutely nothing. The archer's attack is shit. The flame arrows are damaging the morale, but there is no mass rout imminent that is even remotely possible, unless Sandy Star begins to overwhelm and rush him, which actually, you know, all things considered, those flame arrows might actually do the trick and rout Legion very fast, because he is blobbing into Rome very, 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 very sloppily. He is not in phalanx mode. His Sacred Band, everybody, is sword-fighting urbans. They're getting PLU'd. It is a complete disaster. It's a fuckfest. Legion is in serious trouble. He has managed to put pikes down, but he's taken some very unnecessary losses from his accidental blobbing and failure to phalanx in time. But Sacred Band are pretty good. He didn't get PLU'd too badly. They can actually do a lot of damage to these urbans, even though they're famous for not faring well against them. Meanwhile, over here, poor Spartan commander is in something of a 2 versus 1, 1.5 versus 1, whatever you want to call it, against the force of the Spartans and Sandy Star's cavalry, which are just charging him from behind. SC is getting picked apart. These guys are kind of losing in their left and right devices because Cleo over here is absolutely demolishing Mars. Mars is mirroring what Spartan Commander is doing, which kind of actually results in a canceling out of Spartan Commanders getting picked apart here because Mars has chosen, while he's very tired, Cleo's also, he's slightly less winded, his stamina is a little bit better because he has Sacred Band, so he'll be able to catch these units. Mars is just sort of killing off his own army. He should really just stop and engage and do as much damage as he can to Cleo. There's no reason why he needs to just run away and get units picked off like that. There's no reason to run to the red line and just lose even more units, because that really takes a gamble that his allies are going to decisively and swiftly beat these enemies, which, as it happens, they kind of did. I mean, Spartan Commander kind of did get mauled, but many of his units are coming back from routing. He still has all his cav. Legion 22 has a decent force, but he's very slow to react to Sandy Star's flanking maneuvers. So he is also losing his men. So it's just by chance that these guys are losing to Mars's allies. So Mars may have actually lucked out by pulling Cleo away, but it was still, in principle, it's a completely random, thing to do. You're just making sure your army's neutralized, and it would probably lose anyway, but it's not doing any damage to Cleo. Cleo's taking nothing. All he's doing is losing stamina. If you think about it, he's just routing units as he touches them when they run away. So he has pretty close to full numbers, and you can see that in the units as I scroll over them. His cav has taken a little bit of damage, but it's nothing too significant. On the other hand, Mars has already lost almost half of his infantry force, I think all of his archers, and his cav is also severely depleted over here. So this is not a good trade-off. It's much better, as I said, to just face the Sacred Band, even if you're losing. Hold them off as much as you can. Do the damage that you can, and make it so that your allies, even after you're dead, can kill the surviving Sacred Band. That's what you really should go for. This, especially if you cannot run away, is really just allowing units to get picked off for free. We have another Royal Pikeman routing. So it's not looking good for Mars, unfortunately for him. But luckily, as I said, Legion 22 is getting doubled, and Spartan Commander is severely depleted himself. His Urbans probably could have ran away really far, but honestly, they're not a significant force right now. So, and being the team player-minded person that he is, he's trying to save Legion as best he can. He's charging into Sandy Star's units here with all of his cav. He's brought his Urbans to the fore. I would suspect they still have plenty of Pila, so he could inflict Pila damage, but that's what he's doing. He's got auto Pila turned on with some units right now. They will inflict some damage here, so as long as he just uses up all of his Pila before he dies, then he'll do the best thing he could have possibly done. So Mars has finally taken the engagement, but it's just too late now. Cleo still has he has every single one of his infantry fully intact. Mars has lost half of it for free, and Cleo chased down many of these Royal Pikes, getting many kills, which will contribute to his record with his Sacred Band cavalry. And then to seal the deal, he's going to try to make it end a little bit quicker by charging his Sacred Band into these Pikes. Mars has turned around, has Pikes down, and the Sacred Band are going to take significant casualties. But given how tired they are and the weight of the superior infantry force, he is going to mass rout pretty quickly. So Cleo has lost a lot of cav, but he has decisively wiped out Macedon for very, very little losses. And he's so far away from Sandy Star and Uther that he has plenty of time to get fresh again. By the time he meets them, he has the force necessary to beat these Spartans still. The Spartans are taking losses, even though they've pretty decisively defeated a Carthage and helped fight a Rome. He has all of his slingers. He can skirmish. His cav is probably roughly equal to the amount of cav left over from Mars. We have Legion 22 with some general cav here. But Sandy Star is taking some significant losses. Uther's taking smaller losses. His units are just very good. They're Spartans, gold, obviously. most of them anyway. So whatever damage Spartan Commander can do over here will go a long way to helping out Cleo in the end game, even though he will probably lose his whole army. The only thing I would do differently if I was Spartan Commander is probably just not do these charges on Sandy Star. I would actually take my Cav, run them to Cleo, and then use them in conjunction with Cleo's army. There's no reason to try to save these urbans that are left. When they were even when they were alive earlier, there was just nothing 6 Praetorian Cav can do to Spartan some urbans and the little tiny nubs of Cav, as you can see, that are slaughtering Spartan Commander's cavalry as they charge into these urbans by Sandy Star. So that's the battle as it stands. That's how we've now arrived at Cleo having an almost completely untouched army of infantry. He's able to just pursue these royal pikes at basically at his free will. Sandy Star and Uther are going to reform. They have annihilated both Legion and Spartan Commander, so all they have to do now is simply walk up to Cleo and deal with his army. It's pretty much... I wouldn't exactly call it a 2v1, but Sparta is relatively intact, and it has a decent amount of urbans that might still have the general alive. Yeah, so he has a pretty decent force to go fight Cleo with. I would say they have a slight cavalry advantage too, considering that Mars has these little nubs of Cav, and Sandy Star also has these Praetorian Cav. Cleo's charging against Macedon did help rout him a lot quicker and save his infantry, but as you can see, his cavalry, which had over 40 men or 50 men, are now severely depleted. So to say he has the Cav advantage would be a stretch. So I'm going to say the Cav is slightly in the favor of this team of 3 that are left alive. So Cleo is doing a very smart thing. He's just going to rest. He's not going to go, just run up to this army while he's already tired. Sandy Star and Uther are walking now, whereas Cleo, if you notice, is just standing there. He's just resting. His pikes are up. He's doing everything he can to regenerate as quickly as possible before these guys walk all the way here. And by the time they get there, he should be... I wouldn't be surprised if he's warmed up or fresh by then. So I'm just going to triple speed. You can see that they've kind of taken a minute to rest their units up. So Uther's kind of made an improvised formation of Spartans here. I would suggest maybe making these every unit a little bit more tight. This would be a good formation for fighting urbans, but versus pikes, you want them maybe a little bit more condensed. Because these Sacred Band do have a defense advantage over Spartans, and it's very hard for Spartans to penetrate through their lines, given that these units have such good armor. So both sides are still resting. Uther has begun to walk up. They're now winded and tired, but if they walk, they'll still regenerate their stamina. Cleo's also taking a little bit to get fresh again. He may not be positive that Sandy actually threw all of his PLA. It's impossible to tell, so he's just probably throwing up a gold unit of Sacred Band to absorb any of that if it comes. And we're just kind of waiting for these guys to walk up to Cleo. Cleo has been staying still much longer, so that's why he's warmed up and such, whereas Uther and Sandy Star were kind of running around walking a little bit the whole time, so they're going to take longer to regenerate their stamina. And I would actually, I would not want to engage Cleo while he's fresh and warmed up, because a lot of these Spartans are tired and winded. They're not going to do as well as they could, and Sandy Star is kind of making a very foolhardy move. This force of urbans is definitely going to help them have the edge, but not if they get this close to the Sacred Band by themselves. He does catch that and stop, and Uther starts running, which, hurts Uther because his stamina in a lot of his units, some are fresh, but a lot of his units are winded and tired. But he seems to not take that into consideration and just starts to basically go on an all-out attack against Cleo's pikemen. As you can see, they do very well against demolishing this first line. There's no problem there. He is a little bit depleted, so it's not a surprise that all of these Spartans at one time killed the first line. The second line is hanging back. It's fresh. It's not touched. As the Spartans march, they're going to get killed by these pikes that are ready to face them. Cleo's over here on the flank using his last little cat very efficiently with his Ace of Sacred Band, killing these urbans on the flank that Sandy Stars sent. We have little cavalry nubs fighting Balearic Slingers. They were not big enough to actually win, so they were just routed. We have a Testudo put over here. Cleo is flanking it, and he's probably going to try to route it on both sides. It's looking pretty precarious for Cleo. It's very sketchy right now. There's a lot of Spartans, even though they're tired, bearing down on this small line of Sacred Band that are left. His general is in a somewhat precarious spot here. This unit is very small. It's only 32 men. And we've got 51, 13, 50 Spartans all bearing down on it. So it's kind of risky. I mean, I understand why it's in this position. He needs the flank to be secured. He's counteracting that by attacking with this Sacred Band from the side to kill these Spartans. But if this unit routes, it's going to hurt Cleo very much, considering he doesn't have much left. It's going to be hard for him to hold against this entire force of Spartans. You'd expect him to lose, honestly, no matter how good of a player you are. This is just physically very tough if all he does is just attack. But as I said, Cleo did a very good job staying fresh. He paid attention to stamina. His allies, not so much. So, even given their numbers, this goes to show that if they're very tired, they're not as efficient, and they're just going to take a much longer time to kill units that you'd otherwise expect them to kill very quickly. And Spartans are starting to rout. It says that they're losing. It goes on and on from saying victory to defeat, which is absolutely ridiculous considering just how many Spartans there are. Cleo over here with some nubs. He's successfully conquered this flank. He's going to go in, and these Sacred Band are going to start getting a lot of kills because these Spartans are facing backwards versus the pikes and shields of the Sacred Band. Cleo has repositioned his units back a little bit more. So Uther's going to have to then walk up into these pikes again and try to mush into them, just get as many kills as he physically can. Cleo, meanwhile, has taken his slingers, and he's going to go flank the Spartans to help even out the odds a little bit. Although I'd say that, just given how tired Uther is, if Uther would just stand back and not attack, even now he might have a chance to get fresh again and then have a good chance of actually winning this. But he doesn't really decide to do that. He decides to just keep on going with the attack, doesn't regard the stamina. He's going for the numerical advantage here. And, so far in this battle, it's not working out. He's not getting the kills he needs. He's not pushing through. These three little Sacred Band have been fighting these, over 5 units of Spartans for a long time. And, yeah, absolutely nothing has happened to these Sacred Band. These Spartans are just getting whittled down, whittled down, whittled down. And the Slinger has managed to flank and will be shooting those Spartans. Units are starting to rout. Uther finally does decide to do something kind of smart and flanks Cleo with some Spartans. But I think that his units are just too small and too tired to actually, quickly rout Cleo. So that's why you don't see Cleo just collapsing on the flank there. By this point, I'm pretty sure that Uther has lost it. He's lost his general. His units are just getting more and more tired. They did not do any progress, and 3 Sacred Band just annihilated the rest of Uther's army. Pretty impressive feat for Cleo to do all that damage to Macedon without losing virtually anything, then turn around and fight Urban Cohort, Mars's Cav, and Uther's giant army of Spartans. So, if we look at the kills, it's no surprise then that Cleo's managed to get the record number of kills with Carthage, the most anybody has gotten in a 3v3 with Carthage. I don't know anybody's gotten more than this many kills with Carthage in a 4v4. It's not been recorded anywhere. I've never heard about it. So we're just going to look at his kill stats here. His units, not surprising for a 3,000 kills video, all have close to or above 200 kills per unit, so he used his army very efficiently. Whereas if you look at Legion's army by comparison, all of his units barely get 100, only 2 got above 100, actually. Spartan Commander didn't even get 500 kills, unfortunately. He took a giant sacrifice. Legion 22 got a decent number of kills considering. I mean, Sandy Star was very depleted by the end of the game. So he didn't, at least in terms of kills, didn't do bad. Mars is very similar to Spartan Commander. He ran away more than he should have. I highly recommend just fighting Carthage if you're isolated and it's just one Carthage. yeah, you'll have a much better, for purposes of a team game, you'll do much better for your team if you just kill as many Sticker Ben as possible and just fight him well. Sandy Star and Uther did get actually pretty good kills for a 31k. They killed Spartan Commander and they killed Legion 22 together. And both of them got some kills on Cleo. He doesn't have many men remaining, but then again, very well played to Cleo. Another record under Cleo. He now has 2 records. Greece, 3,428 kills, I believe, and now Carthage with 3,020 kills. He has 2 records. Two records, yeah. Anyway, this is Tia Host the Third. Hope you enjoyed the battle. Signing off.